Okay, y'all can watch the screen there. See, it's coming up. It's going to be in green.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Greens and shovel. Green shovel.
Green shovel.
In your rainbow of the Moedim.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yes.
36. I don't know if that means 36.
I do have some animation today.
Oh boy.
Oh, good.
Someone that we all know and love sent me, said he doesn't really agree with superheroes. But what that is, y'all see where the string is going through there and it goes all the way through the picture? Okay. And that's supposed to be a picture of faith.
Like the string?
Well, in Ephesians 6:13 through 19, it says, "Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all perseverance and supplication for all the saints. And for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel." So, that's God's word going on. But I do have some pictures today. And these are from Peyton.
Oh, cool. Oh, all right.
So she sent me pictures of Jerusalem, shawarma, City of David,
Oh, my goodness.
tree planting site, the 4th of July, shepherding, the Lion's Gate, and getting wrapped in a tablecloth. So which one is this? Y'all know which one this is? City of David. It's a work in progress.
Or rework in progress.
And
Oh, there she is, right there in front.
yeah, she's down in the lower left-hand corner. That's Peyton.
Somebody from
Almost
this
looks like
assembly?
Kendi.
Huh?
Yeah, back.
I'm sorry. Somebody from this assembly?
Yes.
Is this the Hollywood special ops thing?
Yeah, she's over there on a 2-month
Three.
deal, 3 months, a long time. And they're planting trees, harvesting, and other stuff.
Some archaeological stuff too.
Awesome. With
Yeah.
Michael?
How
How
long is she going to be over there? Was it 3 or 4 months? Do you know? I thought it was 4.
I don't know.
The special ops thing that they
I thought it was 4. I've been 4.
the special ops thing that Hollywood talks about
Maybe she
said it's
won't come
6
back
weeks.
until the king's return.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what this one was. It doesn't fit any of her things. Y'all can guess what this one is. 4th of July. Yes. And then, y'all know what this is?
Mount Ebal?
Is that Ebo?
No, it's a
Is that Shechem?
tree planting site. See, there's no trees there, but they're going to be trees. And then y'all know what this is? There's a hint. See the girl right in the middle that's holding something in her hand?
Shawarma.
Shawarma. That's right. That's a Jewish burrito, and you can put anything in them. That's basically just a tortilla wrapped in something.
They can have lamb, beef.
But they have hot sauce. Have y'all let they eat hot sauce in Jerusalem?
How hot
I mean,
is
huh?
How hot is it?
It is hot. I mean, various degrees, but it's just as hot as any Mexican food you want to eat.
Can't go putting any
Huh?
can't go putting any carnitas in there.
Carnitas. Okay,
Oh.
and now what's this? Do y'all know that?
Don't get it wrong.
There it
Yeah, right in the middle is the Muslim mosque
Graveyard.
inside the city, and right down there, that little bitty line of trees going across there, really small. It's right in front of the eastern gate. That's the
Yeah.
eastern gate there.
These are the tombs on the.
And
Mount
that's
of
all a burial ground. The Muslims,
Right.
but this is up on the Mount of Olives, and that valley down there is the Kidron Valley. So,
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to
Should
be
be
where he
one
puts
of
his
her
foot down first.
shepherdy.
yeah. And then, can y'all might guess what this one is?
Oh, we got wrapped.
Wrapped in tablecloth,
Were they not getting along?
Oh.
and this is the Lion's Gate, and this
There
is
she's shepherding.
shepherding. See, got a little
There's a
lamb
little
on her
lamb.
shoulder. Yeah. And she's got her Texas hat on.
Yeah. She's a goat roper.
Yeah. So,
That's
now
the
where's
Wailing
this?
Wall.
That's the Wailing Wall.
Wailing Wall.
And she's the one with the green back. Backpack, whatever it is.
Green.
Green.
Blue. Looks blue to me. That's blue.
Teal, it's teal.
Teal.
Teal,
Yes,
okay.
it is teal.
It's it's different up there. than it is.
Everybody wants to say these. No, it's green, it's blue.
In Paul's defense.
Okay. So with that being said, join me in saying the blessing. Join me. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us in his commandments and commanded us to engross ourselves in the words of Torah. And in Hebrew, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu le'asot b'divrei Torah. Y'all remind me, what does Proverbs 15:8-10 say?
Something biblical.
Yahweh detests the sacrifice of the wicked, but delights in the prayers of the upright. Yahweh detests the ways of the wicked, but loves anyone who pursues righteousness. Discipline is severe for one who leaves the way, and whoever can't stand correction will die. So, what's that talking about?
Any who turn away shall be written in the dust of the earth.
It's talking about being obedient. You know, it says if you're obedient but you turn away, that's bad news. You know, Adonai detests the way of the wicked, but loves anyone who pursues righteousness. Discipline is severe for anyone who leaves the way, and whoever can't stand correction will die. In other words,
Might feel a lot like getting a conscience seared.
right. Pinchas. Now, what does Pinchas mean? Y'all know?
That depends.
Pinchas? It depends. That's right. It can mean mouth or brass.
Mouth of a serpent or mouth of bread.
Yeah. Yes. Mouth of a serpent, mouth of brass.
The working hand of God.
Do what?
There in the Torah portion, where in the Torah scroll, it has the pay,
Mhm.
and then it has the yod. Instead of being up top, it's oriented, it's smaller in size, and it's at the bottom. And so it could be that the working hand of God through the mouth of that man,
Mm-hmm.
as he's a prototype Messiah.
Right.
I have a question.
You do?
Yes. And it may have been like this all the time, and I just noticed it, but last Torah reading, the last sentence of it was actually the beginning of this story that we're getting ready to read.
Mm-hmm.
And this week also, the last sentence of that is it always like that?
No. But it is like that sometimes. Depends on the thing.
It depends.
It depends. Yes.
It is when it is, and it's not when it's not.
That makes it easy.
Okay, what are some of the big questions, philosophical questions of life? What are they? Do you know?
Why are
What
we
is the
here?
meaning of life?
Why are we
Or
here?
why are we here? Yeah.
Why is there something other than nothing?
Because something always was.
Something always was. And is there order in nature?
Absolutely.
Because somebody said it that way.
Said that. Maybe. That's what I say. Okay, so we have Numbers 25:10 through 26:4. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, has turned back the wrath from the people of Israel, in that he was jealous with my jealousy among them, so that I did not consume the people of Israel in my jealousy. Therefore, behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and to his descendants after him the covenant of a perpetual priesthood, because he was jealous for his God and made atonement for the people of Israel. The name of the slain man of Israel who was killed with the Midianite woman was Zimri, the son of Salu, chief of the father's house belonging to the Sheminites. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cosbi, the daughter of Zur, who was the tribal head of the father's house in Midian. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Harass the Midianites and strike them down, for they have harassed you with their wiles, with which they beguiled you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cosbi, the daughter of the chief of Midian, their sister, who was killed on the day of the plague on account of Peor. After the plague, Yahweh said to Moshe and to Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, Take a census of all the congregation of the people of Israel from 20 years old and upward, by their fathers' houses, all in Israel who are able to go to war. And Moshe and Eleazar, the priest, spoke with them in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, Take a census of the people from 20 years old and upward, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, the people of Israel who came out of the land of Egypt were. We have to end with the cliffhanger work. So what was Pinchas' full name?
Son of Eleazar.
Pinchas ben Eleazar ben Aaron ha-Kohen. And what does that mean? Pinchas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the Kohen, the priest. So, we've already answered that his name means mouth of brass or mouth of
Serpent.
serpent.
Nahas.
So do any of y'all know what Aaron, Eleazar, Pinchas, and priest mean literally, other than Pinchas? Y'all know that. Aaron means light bringer. Eleazar means God has helped. Pinchas, mouth of brass. And priest literally means one officiating, the person in charge, one that officiates. So God said that Pinchas turned his wrath away from the people. What did Pinchas do, and who were the main characters involved? So what did he do?
He stabbed Cosby and
Ran two people through with a spear.
Zimri through with a sword.
Yeah, he ran them through. What for?
For committing sexual immorality at the gate.
So the sword or spear?
Yes,
Spears. Something sharp.
it was a sword or a spear. I guess it was a spear.
Probably
The big
a
fall.
spear.
So why did God bless Pinchas with a covenant of peace?
His seed.
You think that?
Yes.
What about the avenger of blood? You know, if you kill someone, their kin can come and kill you if they think it's unjust. But God gave him his covenant of peace so that he would not be afraid. You know, saying, I give you my peace. Don't be afraid. I will protect you. But it's also a seal. See what I mean?
He broke Torah.
Mm-hmm. So,
He chose the correct weightier matter.
Right, the weightier matter. What did God tell Moses to do regarding the Midianites and why?
Strike them down.
Go get him.
Because they seduced the people and caused them to sin terribly against God. So, if both the Moabites, Balak, and the Midianites, Balaam, sought harm to Israel, why did God command only the Midianites to be destroyed?
If they did it out of hateful intent and not fear of being conquered.
And that's one reason. What's another reason? Because
Well, they harassed the Israelites when they were coming out of Egypt.
why didn't he command them to destroy them like he did the Midianites? Do you think it may be because
Because Ruth is coming?
I was gonna
Ruth
say,
is
yeah,
coming?
yes.
Who was Ruth?
Boaz is
A
coming.
Moabite.
The great-grandmother of David.
Yeah.
And what was her merit?
She crossed over into faith. She was a believer. And she honored her
And went to
mother-in-law.
She grafted herself into Israel.
Yes.
Right. It was her testimony. She grafted herself into Israel. She said, your people will be my people, your God will be my people. Where you die, I will die. So what were the reasons for, when God said take a census, what are the reasons for the census?
Well, they lost a lot at the golden calf.
To count the men
Yeah, they're going in to conquer the land. It's to know how many fighting men you have, right? And what else? Well, when you get the land conquered, what are they going to do?
Divided.
Divide it up. How are they going to divide it?
By the numbers.
By the number of descendants, based on the number of men, right?
Right.
Location by lot.
Right, by lot.
Amount.
So, is it, why is tempting someone to sin worse than killing him?
Because in a way, you're getting them to commit suicide.
Well, yeah, and they're, if you're committed to sin, then you're going to be against God. But, you know, if you kill them, that's your responsibility.
That's
It's
right.
not theirs.
Yeah, the nations that tried to seduce Israel to sin, Midian, were to be annihilated, whereas those that simply fought against Israel in battle were allowed to convert or join Israel.
Yeah.
In other words, you know, God told Israel, told Moses, is when y'all go in, these 7 nations, kill them all, let them have no descendants. But what else did he say? He said, destroy their idols, all their high places, grind it to dust. What does grind it to dust? What does that mean?
No archaeological record.
No record. You know, some of the things that archaeologists and secular people use to say that the Bible wasn't true is because there was no record of the Hittites. They were recorded in the Bible, but there was no archaeological evidence. And it's been only in recent years that they've found some references to the Hittites outside the Bible. But that just goes to show that they really did, you know, get rid of some of them.
That they weren't completely disobedient.
Yeah, they weren't completely disobedient. They didn't like the Hittites at all. Okay. So number 2, 26:5-51. So the people of Israel who came out of the land of Egypt were Reuben, the firstborn of Israel, the sons of Reuben, of Hanok, the clan of the Hanakites, of Palu, the clan of the Pulites, the Palulites, I guess, of Hebron, the clan of the Hezronites, of Carmi, the clan of the Carmites, These are the clans of the Reubenites, and those listed were 43,730. And the sons of Palu, Eliab, the son of Eliab, Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. These are the Dathan and Abiram chosen from the congregation who contended against Moses and Aaron in the company of Korah when they contended against Yahweh, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah when that company died, when the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a warning. But the sons of Korah did not die. The sons of Simeon, according to their clans, of Nemuel, the clan of the Nemuelites, of Yamin, the clan of the Yaminites, of Yakin, the clan of the Yakinites, of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites, of Shaul, the clan of the Shaulites. These are the clans of the Shemonites, 22,200. The sons of Gad, according to their clans, of Zephon, the clan of the Zephonites, of Haggai, the son of the Haggaites, of Shuni, the clan of the Shuniites, of Ozni, the clan of the Ozniites, of Eri, the clan of the Eriites, of Arod, the clan of the Arodites, of Areli, the clan of the Arelites. And these are the clans of the sons of Gad as they were listed, 40,500. The sons of Judah were Er and Onan, and Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Judah, according to their clans, were of Shelah, the clan of the Shelanites, of Perez, the clan of the Perites, of Zerah, the clan of the Zerahites. And the sons of Perez were Hezron, the clan of the Hezronites, of Hamuel, the clan of the Hamulites. These are the clans of Judah as they were listed, 76,500. The sons of Issachar, according to their clans, of Tola, the clan of the Tolaites, of Pubah, the clan of the Pubahites, of Yeshub, the clan of the Yeshubites, of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. These are the clans of Issachar as they were listed, 64,300. The sons of Zebulun, according to their clans, of Zered, the clan of the Zeredites, of Elon, the clan of the Elonites, of Yahil, the clan of the Lehalites. It's a tough one. These are the clans of the Zebunites as they were listed, 60,500. The sons of Joseph, according to their clans, Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Manasseh, of Machir, the clan of the Machanites, and Machir was the father of Gilead, and Gilead, the clan of the Gileadites. These are the sons of Gilead, of Lezer, the clan of the Lezerites, of Helek, the clan of the Helekites, and of Asriel, the clan of the Asrielites, and of Shechem, the clan of the Shechemites, and of Shemida, the clan of the Shemidites, and of Hepher, the clan of the Hepherites. Now Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, had no sons, but daughters, and the names of the daughters of Zelophehad were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the clans of Manasseh, and those listed were 52,700. These are the sons of Ephraim, according to their clans, of Shethulah, the clan of the Shethulites, of Becher, the clan of the Becherites, of Tahan, the clan of the Tahanites. And these are the sons of Shuthalah, of Iran, the clan of the Aaronites. Of Iran, the clan of the Aaronites. These are the clans of the sons of Ephraim, as they were listed, 32,500. These are the sons of Joseph, according to their clans. The sons of Benjamin, according to their clans, of Bela, the clan of the Belaites, of Ashbel, the clan of the Ashbelites, of Ahiram, the clan of the Ahiramites, of Shephupham, the clan of the Shephumites, of Hupham, the clan of the Huphamites. And the sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman. Of Ard, the clan of the Ardites, and of Naaman, the clan of the Naamites. These are the sons of Benjamin, according to their clans, and those listed were 45,600. These are the sons of Dan, according to their clans. Shulham, the clan of the Shulhamites. These are the clans of Dan, according to their clans. All the clans of the Shuhamites, as they were listed, were 64,400. The sons of Asher, according to their clans: of Imnah, the clan of the Imnites; of Ishvi, the clan of the Ishviites; of Beriah, the sons of the Berites; of the sons of Beriah; of Heber, the clan of the Heberites; of Malchiel, the clan of the Malchielites. And the name of the daughter of Asher was Sarah. These are the clans of the sons of Asher, as they were listed, 53,400. The sons of Naphtali, according to their clans: of Yazeel, the clan of the Yazeelites; of Guni, sons of the Gunites; of Yezer, the clan of the Yezerites; of Shalem, the clan of the Shalemites. These are the clans of Naphtali, according to their clans. Of those listed were 45,400. This was the list of the people of Israel, 601,730. So, what was remarkable about the tribe of Simeon in the census?
I think they were the smallest one.
The original census showed that they had 59,300 men, but after the sin of Baal Peor, they only had 22,200 men.
Yeah.
So what does that indicate?
Or prime suspect.
Yes. A lot of them got killed for sexual immorality, right?
They were a little too close to the heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comment about all the tribes of Israel?
Some gained. Some gained.
Some gained, that's right.
I think it's Manasseh gained like 64%.
I didn't do the percentages. Okay. So we got number 3. Numbers 26:52 through 27:5. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Among these the land shall be divided for inheritance according to the number of names. To a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, to a small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. Every tribe shall be given an inheritance in proportion to its list, but the land shall be divided by lot, according to the names of the tribes of their fathers, by they shall inherit. Their inheritance shall be divided according to lot between the larger and the smaller." This was the list of the Levites according to their clans: of Gershon, the clan of the Gershonites; of Kohath, the clan of the Kohathites; of Merari, the clan of the Maharites. These are the clans of Levi: the clan of the Libnites, the clan of the Hebronites, the clan of the Mahalites, the clan of the Mushites, and the clan of the Kohathites. And Kohath was the father of Aram. The name of Aram's wife was Jochebed, the daughter of Levi, who was born to Levi in Egypt. And she bore to Amram Aaron and Moses and Miriam their sister. And to Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they offered unauthorized fire before Yahweh. And those listed were 23,000, every male from a month old and upward. For they were not listed among the people of Israel, because there was no inheritance given to them among the people of Israel. These were those listed by Moses and Eleazar the priest, who listed the people of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan and Jericho. But among these were not one of those listed by Moses and Aaron the priest, who had listed the people of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. For Yahweh had said to them, They shall die in the wilderness. Not one of them was left, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Then drew near the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. The names of the daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses and before Eleazar the priest and before the chiefs and all the congregation at the entrance of the tent of meeting, saying, Our father died in the wilderness. He was not among the company of those who gathered themselves together against Yahweh in the company of Korah, but died of his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be taken away from his clan because he had no son? Give to us a possession among our father's brothers. Moses brought their case before Yahweh. So, how was the inheritance to be determined?
Size of the tribe.
By lot, by location, by size, amount.
Yeah, it was by lot, by size. So how much land were the Levites to get in the land?
None.
None, though they were given what?
Cities,
The cities of refuge and their outskirts, right?
Yeah, right.
What, do y'all remember how far outside around the city it was?
Half a mile.
1,000 cubits or something.
1,000 cubits, which would be what, 1,500 feet?
Yeah.
1,500 feet is about a quarter of a mile.
Quarter of a mile,
So a quarter of a mile around the town. Who was Zelophehad, and why is she important? I mean, why was he important?
He didn't have sons.
He didn't have sons. So what happened?
yeah. Daughters.
So the daughter said, you know, our dad didn't have any sons, but why should he not have an inheritance? And so they didn't know what to do, right? Because mainly the males always inherited. And what did other societies do? Women didn't inherit no matter what. But what did God say?
That they were right, that they do get stuff.
Right.
And this is how you'll do it.
And this is how you do it. Now, what caveat happened later on?
They had to marry within their tribes.
Yeah, the daughters had to marry within the tribe to keep their inheritance from going over to another tribe, and so their land being subdivided. Gotta read number. Want to read number 4? Number 4, Numbers 27, 6 through 23.
Me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you.
I missed the nod. And Yahweh said to Moses, the daughters of Zelophehad are right. You shall give them possession of an inheritance among their father's brothers, and transfer the inheritance from their father to them. And you shall speak to the people of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall transfer his inheritance to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, then you shall give the inheritance to the nearest kinsman of his clan, and he shall possess it. And it shall be for the people of Israel a statute and rule, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Yahweh said to Moses, go up into this mountain of Abiram, and see the land that I have given to the people of Israel. When you have seen it, you shall also be gathered. You shall also be gathered to your people as your brother Aaron was. Because you rebelled against my word in the wilderness of Zin, when the congregation quarreled, failing to uphold me as holy as the waters before their eyes. These are the waters of Meribah of Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. Moses spoke to Yahweh, saying, let Yahweh, the God of spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation, who shall go out before them and come in before them, who led them out to bring them in, that the congregation of Yahweh may not be as sheep that have no shepherd. So Yahweh said to Moses, take Yehoshua, son of Nun, a man from whom is spirit, and lay your hand on him. Make him stand before Eleazar the priest, and all the congregation, and you shall commission him in their sight. You shall invest in him with some authority, that all the congregation of the people of Israel may obey. And he shall stand before Eleazar the priest, who shall inquire for him by the judgment of Urim before Yahweh. At his word they shall go out, at his word they shall come in, both he and the people of Israel with him, the whole congregation. And Moses did as Yahweh commanded him. He took Yehoshua and made him stand before Eleazar the priest, the whole congregation. And he laid his hands on him and commissioned him as Yahweh directed through Moses.
So, why is it it's so important to have basic laws of inheritance?
So that people outside don't take the land by
Well,
happenstance or
right.
plan even.
Well, you know, what are the laws of, what's it called, primogeniture? You know, where the firstborn gets a double portion. You know, do y'all remember how a double portion is calculated? So if you had 3 sons, you divide it by 4, and then you take two of those portions, so the first son would get a half, and then the other two sons would get a quarter. So, but what does that do?
Keeps the property in the family.
Keeps the property in the family, but it also, over time, you know, you have to expand your property. In other words, you know, God said, I'm going to give you this much territory, but they never occupied that much territory, did they?
Never did.
But if they had remained in the land and had grown, they would have had to have taken all that territory to exist. You know, because they would have run out of room. Have y'all ever done the math? How many grandparents does each person here have? Just grandparents, not great grandparents. 4. Okay. So then your children, how many grandparents do they have? No.
8.
They have 8. Okay, so every generation doubles.
It's binary.
It's binary, yeah. So after 10 generations, how many do you have? 1,024. After 10 more generations, how many do you have? That's 20 generations. You have 1,000,000. 30 generations, you have 1 billion. 40 generations, you have 1 trillion grandparents. That's a lot of people. Now, especially, you know, when people start living a long time. You can imagine before the flood, there was a lot of people that existed from Adam, because there was how many generations from Adam to Noah? A bunch. I mean, so a lot of people, they lived a long time, so not many people were dying off.
Up to 969 years.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, long time. So, is it not unreasonable to think that there was millions of people alive at the flood? I never thought about it, but once I determined that, you know, every generation could double. Yeah, a lot of people. So, what mountain was Moses going to go up on and die?
Abiram.
Abiram. What does Abiram mean? Y'all remember? What's the word for Hebrew? Ibarim? Yeah, it's the Mount of Crossing. It's the land where Moses would cross into the next world, but not into the promised land. Why did Moses change Hosea's name from Hosea to Joshua? Y'all remember? Yeah, you do. Because he was afraid that Yeshua's humility would make him susceptible to being influenced by the spies. Hoshua means Yahweh has saved. Moses added a yod to the front of the name to indicate that Yahweh will save. So he says, your name now, Yahweh will save. So you don't have to go along with the crowd, because Yahweh will save you. So what happened to the 10 that disagreed, that brought back the bad report? They died immediately. So what tribe was Joshua from? Ephraim, that's right. He was from the tribe of Ephraim, who was the son of Joseph. That's always been a curiosity, man. What do y'all think about Joseph?
Mashiach ben Joseph.
Yeah, he's the Messiah ben Joseph. Why is he referred to as the Messiah ben Joseph?
Because his actions and his blessings saved Israel from the famine, brought them in, protected them, and fed them.
Right. It's interesting. I don't know if y'all thought about it, but it's interesting that Joseph went to Egypt and made Egypt the most prosperous country in the world. And how did it happen? It happened through famine, right?
Right.
In other words, when it got there, God said there's going to be a huge famine, but before the 7 years of famine, there's going to be a lot of prosperity. And Joseph, through a revelation of God, said, what you need to do is store up everything so that you can make it through the famine. And so when they stored everything up, what was the result of storing all the grain in all the storage cities throughout the land?
They were wealthy and able to trade out for everybody else's stuff as they ran out.
Yeah. They not only saved Egypt, but it saved the world. It said the famine was throughout the land, and countries from all over came and bought. So what happened to Egypt? They gained the wealth of the world.
They became the first superpower.
Yeah, they were the superpower. And so then after they subjugated the Israelites, then what happened?
They gave all that wealth to the Jews, and the Jews hauled it off.
That's right. No, what they did is God took the salvation that Joseph brought and rewarded his ancestors with it when they left. It says how does it put it in the scripture?
Plundered.
They plundered the Egyptians. And they didn't do it by force. No. They gave it to them.
We will pay you to go away because this hurt.
Yeah. So why was he chosen as the next leader?
Because the Holy Spirit dwelt in him.
He believed the Lord.
Okay. Well, do you
Part of God's plan to show that
Yeah.
Yeshua.
That is, to us it's obvious. His name is Yeshua. So that's pretty obvious. But what's the scripture say about him? That he was
people into the promised land.
no. Well, that's true, but it says he was very humble. He was like Moses. His main characteristic was humility. And what did he do when he was? He went with Moses up on the mountain several times.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it say about him? Moses was going to the tent of meeting to speak with God, and then what would Joshua do? He stayed in the tent. Why would he be staying in the tent? What was said about Jacob, between Jacob and Esau?
He was a tent boy.
Okay, he was a man of the tent. What does that indicate? Why was that important?
Studying.
He studied the Torah. In other words, he what God's word was.
And also out of humility didn't try to jump in front of Moses.
Right, he had to be.
Didn't try to usurp any authority.
Right, he had to be asked to serve.
Called, as it were.
So, how do you think that Jewish tradition regarded Joshua as opposed to Moses? Well, you never hear him say the law of Joshua. You never hear him say Joshua brought us into the country. They refer to Joshua, but they consider Moses the
Right.
the greater of the leader. And I don't know that that's true, that he was greater. But it's a picture of God and Jesus. In other words, God sends Jesus to lead us into the promised land, but he is the greater leader, right? So it's the same principle.
Same God.
Same guy. That's right. Okay, number 5.
Or same God.
Do I have a volunteer?
Now the
All right.
Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Command the people of Israel and say to them, my offering, my food for my food offerings, my pleasing aroma, you shall be careful to offer to me at its appointed time. And you shall say to them, this is the food offering that you shall offer to Yahweh. 2 male lambs a year old without blemish, day by day is a regular offering. One lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at twilight. Also, 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of beaten oil. It is a regular burnt offering, which was ordained at Mount Sinai for a pleasing aroma, a food offering to Yahweh. Its drink offering should be 1/4 of a hin for each lamb. In the holy place you should pour out a drink offering of strong drink to Yahweh. The other lamb you shall offer at twilight. Like the grain offering of the morning and like its drink offering, you shall offer it as a food offering with a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. On the Sabbath day, 2 male lambs a year old without blemish, and 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with oil, and its drink offering. This is the burnt offering of every Sabbath, besides the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. At the beginnings of your months, you shall offer a burnt offering to Yahweh. 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old without blemish, also 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with oil, for each bull, and 2/10 of fine flour for a grain offering, mixed with oil, for the 1 ram, and 1/10 of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for every lamb. For a burnt offering with a pleasing aroma, a food offering to Yahweh. Their drink offering shall be 1/2 a hin of wine for a bull, 1/3 of a hin for a ram, and 1/4 of a hin for a lamb. This is the burnt offering of each month throughout the months of the year. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering to Yahweh, which shall be offered besides the regular burnt offering and its drink offering.
Okay. So, how do you describe the sacrifice that was to be offered daily upon the altar? It's a defect-free male lamb, along with unleavened bread and wine, which is offered both in the morning and at twilight. A korban tamid. In effect, the sacrifice of the lamb was constantly occurring upon the altar. So, it's like you have all kinds of sacrifices going on during the year. You have the daily sacrifice, you have the weekly sacrifice, you have the new moon sacrifice, you have the festivals and their sacrifices, you have free will offerings. But the morning sacrifice and the evening sacrifice encompasses them all. Right? You have the defect-free lamb that is sacrificed in the morning and at sunset. And there's no sacrifices before the morning offering, and there's no sacrifices after the morning offering. So, what is that a picture of?
It's a picture, I think, Yeshua's always with us in between the offerings. Is always
He's the
sacrifice.
offering from the beginning of time. From the beginning, he's the offering. And he's the offering at the end of time. He encompasses our whole life. So why was Moses not allowed to enter the promised land?
That's,
Because of his disobedience and striking the rock twice.
Instead of speaking to the rock?
He said speaking and he hit the rock twice.
this,
Well, there's Alvin's over there. He's hiding by the door there. I can't see him because you're in my way. There you go. You know, we look at Leviticus 23 every year. What is Leviticus 23?
The feast.
It's a summary of the feast, right? It's kind of like a planning calendar. And it starts with the Shabbat and goes through all of the pilgrim feasts, right? And this Torah portion right here is kind of like that. Now, we just covered the daily and weekly sacrifices, right? New moon sacrifices. We might not have covered the new moon yet. And then we're fixing to talk about the sacrifices for the festivals. So it's a summary of the sacrifices. But it's not in detail like, you know, in Leviticus it gives the Leviticus 23, it talks about the dates and the times and so forth. It tells about here the same thing, but it's just telling these are the sacrifices. Why are sacrifices so important? Why were they important?
It's a picture of the importance of Yeshua's sacrifice for us.
Also keeps our focus upon our relationship with the Lord.
Yes.
and to teach us the cost of sin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, you never realize, I mean, in our society today, it's not obvious. I mean, it is to some people. It's probably more obvious to the folks that were raised on a farm or a ranch or have animals now. But you know, animals are, back in the day, and even to this day, cattle, sheep that you raise are extremely expensive, and you make a lot of money having, you know, if you feed cattle or if you raise cattle or if you have sheep. When you do that, what do people look at today? Does anybody know? I mean, if you have cattle and you're raising them, you have them on grass, you might have to feed them. If there's not enough rain, you have to have other ways. You have to have hay and all that kind of stuff. What makes an animal worth money?
It's
I mean,
weight.
it's weight.
Work.
Okay,
It's
so
weight.
what causes an animal to gain weight?
Food.
Abundance of grass.
Grass, forage, so forth. Okay, if you don't have grass, forage, if there's no rain, your animals die. You starve, right? If anybody here had ever worked in a feed yard or had raised cattle or put them on grass and all that kind of stuff, what you're concerned with is cost of gain. So you have the animal that you might have to buy, or you might have cows that are having calves. But if you have cows that are having calves, you have to have grass for the cows, plus you have to have grass and food for the calves once they're weaned. And so all those things are dependent upon nature, the rain. And so all those things that they're sacrificing here are their life. Okay? They understand where that comes from. It's life. And if you don't have life through rain and the grass and the flowers and the trees, you don't have life in your livestock. So you don't have food, you don't have money, you don't have anything. And all these things are tied to nature. We live in a day now when, the kids think that the food comes from the grocery store.
Yeah.
Milk comes out of a gallon jug.
Yeah, I've told you before, I have cousins that grew up in the city, and they would come to the farm, and my mother one time said, "We got some fresh cow's milk," and my cousin said, "I don't want any of that stuff. I want some stuff that comes from the store." It's the same stuff.
Only that.
There was an article or something in a newspaper somewhere where somebody was writing to the editor about all those hunters being so cruel. They need to go get their food from the store when they make the resident.
McDonald's.
Yeah. Well, there's also that recording about where the woman's going down the street and it's got deer crossing.
Yeah.
And they're telling,
Why
and
don't
she
they-
calls in and says, "Well, why don't y'all move that sign so that those deer won't be getting killed there?" And the person says, "The deer can't read. That's up there for the people to know that's where the deer cross." And she says, "Well, but if you had moved the sign, then they would cross somewhere else." And he says, "You got to be kidding." I mean, if that's an actual recording, I mean,
People are never even.
Was she blonde like me?
yeah.
Yeah, I teased my
Obviously.
sister-in-law one time. I said, "If you really want something to eat, instead of killing Bambi, just go over to your neighborhood McDonald's."
That's right. Okay. Number 6. Numbers 28:16 through 29:11. On the 14th day of the first month is Yahweh's Passover, and on the 15th day of this month is a feast. 7 days shall unleavened bread be eaten. On the first day there shall be a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but offer a food offering, a burnt offering to Yahweh, 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. See that they are without blemish. Also their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah shall you offer for a bull, and 2/10 of a ram, 2/10 for a ram. 1/10 you shall offer for each of the 7 lambs. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering to make atonement for you. You shall offer these besides the burnt offering of the morning, which is for a regular burnt offering. In the same way you shall offer daily for 7 days the food of a food offering with a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. It shall be offered besides the regular burnt offering and its drink offering. And on the 7th day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. On the day of the first fruits, when you offer a grain offering of new grain to Yahweh, at your feast of weeks, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but offer a burnt offering with a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. 2 bulls from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. Also their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for each bull, 2/10 for 1 ram, 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs, with 1 male goat to make atonement for you. Besides the regular burnt offering and its offering, you shall offer them and their drink offering. See that they are without blemish. On the first day of the 7th month you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. In its day, it is a day for you to blow the trumpets, and you shall offer a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old without blemish. Also their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for the bull, 2/10 for a ram, and 1/10 for each of the 7 lambs, with 1 male goat for a sin offering to make atonement for you, besides the burnt offering of the new moon, and its grain offering, and the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering, and the drink offerings, according to their rule for them, for a pleasing aroma, a food offering to Yahweh. On the 10th day of the 7th month you shall have a holy convocation, and afflict yourselves. You shall do no work, but you shall offer a burnt offering to Yahweh, a pleasing aroma, 1 bull from the herd, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old. See that they are without blemish. And their grain offering shall be of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for a bull, 2/10 for the 1 ram, a tenth for each of the 7 lambs, also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the sin offering of atonement, and the regular burnt offering, and its grain offering, and their drink offerings. I'm going to read number 7 too. It kind of continues on. On the 15th day of the 7th month you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, and you shall keep a feast to Yahweh 7 days. And you shall offer a burnt offering, a food offering, with a pleasing aroma to Yahweh, 13 bulls from the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a year old. They shall be without blemish. And their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 of an ephah for each of the 13 bulls, 2/10 for each of the 2 rams, and a tenth for each of the 14 lambs. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 2nd day, 12 bulls from the herd, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, the rams, and for the lambs, in its prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering and its grain offering, and their drink offerings. On the 3rd day, 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and its drink offering for the bulls, the rams, and for the lambs in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides its regular burnt offering and its grain offering and its drink offering. On the 4th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs, a male without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offerings, and its drink offerings. On the 5th day, 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old without blemish, and with the offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides its regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offerings. On the 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 male lambs a year old without blemish, with the grain offering and the drink offering for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offerings, its grain offerings, and its drink offerings. On the 8th day you shall have a solemn assembly. You shall do no ordinary work, but you shall offer a burnt offering, a food offering, and a pleasing aroma to Yahweh. 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 male lambs a year old without blemish, and the grain offering and the drink offering for the bull, for the ram, and for the lambs, in the prescribed quantities. Also 1 male goat for a sin offering, besides the regular burnt offerings, and its grain offerings, and its drink offerings. These you shall offer to Yahweh at your appointed feast, in addition to your vow offerings and your freewill offerings, for your burnt offerings, and for your grain offerings, and for your drink offerings, and for your peace offerings. So Moshe told the people of Israel everything, just as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribe of the people of Israel, saying, "This is what Yahweh has commanded." Okay, so can you list all the appointed times listed in this portion? You got the daily and morning evening sacrifices, the weekly Shabbat, the monthly Rosh Chodesh sacrifices. Then you have the seasonal Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, Shavuot, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. So we have the daily, weekly, monthly, and then the spring, the summer, and the fall, right?
And you listed them like a chiasm.
Do what?
And you listed them like a chiasm.
It is a chiasm. I mean, you have the daily and the monthly, the on the appointed feast on the daily, we are depending on God daily, right? So we have a daily sacrifice. Weekly, we remember what God has set apart. What does He set apart? The Shabbat. He set it apart as holy. So we remember the holy day every week because we have a weekly sacrifice. We have our morning prayers, our evening prayers, and we have our weekly Shabbat prayer. And then monthly we have the new moon. And what's the new moon? It's the new beginning. In other words, everything starts over again every month, right? We go from new moon to new moon. We go from day to day. We go from week to week. God is teaching us every day to depend on Him for our provision through His sacrifice, right? And then we have the seasonal. We have 4 through 6, the spring, is salvation and first fruits. 7 is the giving of the Spirit. And 8 through 10, fall, Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, is God's reign and His judgment, and God with us. So, what did the festivals teach us?
What He's doing and what He's going to do, or what He has done and what He's going to do.
They're prophetic. We study the feast because we want to know what God's going to do. We want to know what He's done and what He's going to do. And if we don't know what He does in the feast, then we don't know what He's going to do in the world. Period. Okay? So anybody that thinks that these aren't important is famous quote of a friend of mine is smoking crack. He doesn't know what's going on. In Zechariah,
it could just be that they're ignorant.
it could be ignorant. There's two terms. There's ignorant and stupid. Ignorance can be overcome because you can educate them, but people that are stupid they can't be helped.
You can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
Y'all didn't hear that. Did y'all hear what he said?
Yes, he quoted John Wayne.
That's right.
I thought it was, what's her name, the Golden Girls lady? What was her name?
I give up.
Goldie?
Huh?
Goldie?
Yes.
Oh, Benny or Goldie?
Okay, I get rid of those. Zechariah. Then the Lord, this is Zechariah 14, 5 through 9. Then the Lord my God will come, and all the holy ones with Him. On that day there shall be no light, cold, or frost. And there shall be a unique day which is known to the Lord, neither day nor night, but at evening time there shall be light. On that day living water shall flow out from Jerusalem, half of them to the eastern sea, and half of them to the western sea. It shall continue in summer as in winter, and the Lord will be king over all the earth. On that day Yahweh will be one, and His name one. So that's Zechariah. What does it remind you of? Revelation? When it says, in Revelation it says
The New Jerusalem.
the mountain will split and waters will flow into the Mediterranean and into the Dead Sea. And the Dead Sea will no longer be the Dead Sea. It will have life in it. So,
They're already finding fish near the Dead Sea. There's like little pools that are now have fish in them.
really?
Yeah, on the springs at the north side.
Wow. So, what was the beginning of this Torah portion?
Pinchas.
Pinchas. And what was Pinchas? What was his claim to fame?
Justice.
Zeal.
Zeal.
What was his zeal? Was it a righteous zeal? So why was it a righteous zeal?
Standing for God. For God's
Well, you
righteousness.
can also relate that to the golden calf incident where the tribe of Levi.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
And this kind of
There's-
plays it out again in this particular situation, which is good.
what are you going to say?
Aren't there some parallels between Pinchas and Elijah?
There might be. Do you want to extemporate on
I
it?
can't remember.
You can't remember.
But I had it, but now I'm remembering what John Wayne said, life is tough, even tougher if you're stupid.
Okay. So, zeal can be defined as an emotional response to a perceived value or truth, which can be either good or bad. In other words, you can have a zeal for something that's not necessarily good. Like, some people have a zeal for science fiction movies and science fiction books. Anybody ever guilty of that? Okay, so let's get rid of that. But depending on your heart, so what is zeal like if you want to know, like science fiction movies or romance novels or whatever your hang up is? Why can it be good or bad?
Because the zeal makes it the forefront of your life. That's what you will focus on.
That's right. That's one of the reasons that I think that in near modern societies like the Roman Empire, we think of the Romans as kind of not a great society, but they built coliseums and stuff all over the world, all over the known world at the time. I mean, if you travel to places in Israel and other places in the Mideast, there's Roman coliseums all over the place.
Keep the people entertained. You keep them from rising up.
Well, that's true, but I've talked about this before. Y'all know the Haftarah mechanism? Y'all know what I'm talking about? Haftarah mechanism?
The thing they found on the bottom of the ocean?
Well, it was in the Mediterranean off the coast of the island of Haftarah, and they call it that. It was discovered in the early 1900s. But it was an analog computer made with gears.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And they determined that it was made about 250 BC. And the gears are of brass, and they're machined to a very fine degree. And they predict the Olympic Games that they were held throughout the Mediterranean at the different coliseums around. And it's all based on moon dates and the orbit of the moon around the sun and the Earth around the sun and Jupiter and Saturn and all those. And it predicts solar and lunar eclipses, which is really tricky math. And they've rebuilt it now since they have imaging. They couldn't take it apart, but they imaged it with imaging, and they rebuilt it, and it's got a little crank on it, and you just crank it and you can see all the dates as you crank around going into the future. And they had no idea that the math existed at that day and time to predict all those things, because it's predicting solar and lunar eclipses. It's predicting when things are going to happen, and so that they could be at the festivals on time. Okay, so what was that doing? It was taking the people away from God's appointed times to man's appointed time.
Okay.
The same thing that happens today.
Okay.
I can remember in the old church we went to that people would be upset because the preacher didn't get through in time to get home to watch the football game. It didn't matter what was said in church that day.
Or beat the rush at the rib crib.
Right. Whatever the deal was. The point being is the technology that existed, and they finally decided that Archimedes was the one that invented it.
Okay.
And they have found others since then, not as sophisticated, but the comment is this is like finding a cell phone, you know, in 1900.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because the technology is just overwhelming to do that. So anyway, quite interesting. But our misdirected zeal in our society, what draws us away? I mean, if we took the amount of time and effort that we spend on the sod poodles, or getting the kids to baseball or soccer or karate or whatever they're involved in, if we redirected that to teaching them, you know, when we say the Shema, teach these, I command you today, teach these commands diligently to your children. Speak of them all during the day, when you're in your house, when you lie down, when you rise up. If we actually did that, we wouldn't have to evangelize the world, because we would be evangelizing ourselves. We learn all this stuff now, and some of us are north of 7 decades. Some of us are north of 8 decades, Gary.
Yeah, yeah.
So the deal is, we just the people, we could have changed the world if we would have done what the Scripture says back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? And
Scatter a lot more seed.
right, and the Word of God is the seed. It's God's Word in us, and what comes out of us is our fruit. Or it's what we do. We hear God's Word. If it's planted in us, what comes out is what that seed produces in us. Okay, if it's not, if we're not speaking God's Word when we rise up, and when we walk by the way, and when we lie down, we're not fulfilling what He wants us to do. And we proclaim the greatest commandment. We proclaim that as the greatest commandment. We say it every Shabbat. That's what we proclaim. That's right, am I right?
You're right.
That's what we proclaim. But we don't do it. Well, I'm not going to speak for everybody else. I have not done it properly. I'll put it that way. But if we take it to heart and try to get people to do it, say, why aren't we doing this? Do we think it's not true? Do we just say it because it sounds good, or it makes us feel good? Well, we don't have any zeal. Pinchas had zeal. He said, these people are defying the God of the universe, the maker of heaven and earth, and it will not stand.
And they're doing it in front of everybody so that they will begin to do the same thing.
Right.
I
So,
think possibly we don't do it is because fear of rejection, fear of turning somebody away, that they wouldn't even mess with the Lord to begin with, because
okay. So, what was the zeal that Jesus proclaimed when He was here? What was it said about it? It was the zeal for God's house. It says Jesus was ate up, caused His undoing, because He turned over the money changers and kicked the people out of the temple for defiling. He said, this is God's house, a house of prayer for all nations. So, why did He do that?
Because they had made His house a den of robbers.
Yeah.
They had taken away, made it a chase for money and how to get money instead of worshiping God.
Right. Well, that's the same thing that's going on in spades in our society.
Yeah.
brazen defiance of the law.
Brazen defiance of the law that draws us away from God's Word. So we are called to be salt and light, right? What is salt?
Preservative.
Preservative. What is light?
Brings life.
Opposite of darkness.
Opposite of darkness? Well, when it says, you will be a light to the nations, our light is our example. If we don't have a good example, we don't have much light. We're more of a shadow than a light.
Commandment is the lamp and the law of life.
That's right.
And
So, anyway, I've got to get to Calvin now because I could continue on for the rest of the day probably. What does Calvin say? There aren't many heroes these days. Who is out there to inspire us with a personal example of virtue and self-sacrifice in the name of a higher good? Who's out there? Who can we look up to? Business leaders, sports figures, politicians, celebrities. Heck, we're lucky if they don't end up in prison.
More unlucky if they don't.
Well, Hobbes says, fortunately, we can get inspiration. We'll accept entertainment. But Calvin says, no. We must proclaim the gospel. Only God can save the world. Okay?
True story.
That's what I thought.
He's putting words in Calvin.
Have y'all seen Calvin's transformation?
Nothing like today. From BC, I've seen it.
His evil twin will reappear forever.
Exactly.
Okay. So next week we're going to do matot. What is matot? Right. Okay. Join me in saying the blessing, please. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gave to us the Torah of truth, Yeshua our Messiah, and life everlasting set in our midst. Blessed are you, Lord, giver of the Torah. And in Hebrew, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah hamed, Yeshua Meshikenu, B'chai olam, Ne'tan B'chenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah. Got to get this adjusted here just a little bit. Because, why not? Shabbat Shalom. Y'all are jumping the gun here.
Is that a blessing or a curse?
So